Okay, guys, we are on day 4 of Unit 1. And so today we're going to be doing basic constructions. This one you cannot do at home because you don't have the materials needed to do it at home. So what we'll do is if you, hopefully you're getting to this a little early if you finish up the other units. If not, we'll be doing this in class. I'll play this video and I'll go around and make sure everybody's getting the constructions right. So today we are focusing on constructions. In order to do a construction, you have to have a straight edge, which is a ruler. You have to have a compass. And for our sake, we have these wonderful plastic compasses, which do a much better job than the old ones because there's no mixing up. But we're going to learn how to use them real quick. And so we use those to make a construction. And that's a figure that we use a straight edge and a compass to make. So before we draw anything, geometry specific, I want to talk about how you use a compass. So you have the white piece, you put your finger on the brad in the middle of the white piece, and then you put your pencil or pen in the orange piece, and it kind of makes this thing called an arc. You can use it to make a circle, you can use it to do whatever, and I'll show you how to make a circle with the white side here in a little second. So let's say you do have a smaller portion. You can put your finger on the orange piece, put your pencil in the white piece, hold it down, and it'll make a circle. I'll make a better one. So again, it makes a circle. Obviously, the orange will make a circle too, but I don't want to waste that much space on the paper because I might need this to make some extra examples later on. So take a minute, make sure you understand how to use a compass. If you have any questions, and I'll pause the video at this point, just raise your hand and I'll come around and help you. All right. So there's a couple constructions that we're going to do, and these are your basic constructions. They're nothing that's like too difficult. But let's go ahead and we have a line segment here, XY. And if I want to copy XY, I want to make another XY here. Now, I know you're going to say, well, I have a ruler. And I can just measure XY is 2 inches. I can come over here and do 2 inches. That's great. But what happens if you don't have a ruler, or if it's off by just like a 1/16 of an inch? You can use the compass to do that. So in order for us to do that, I want you guys to make sure you follow along very succinctly so you can pause the video whenever and make sure you understand the steps. And when I'm playing in class, I'll pause it as well. You put the compass on X, and you find Y. And as we discussed, Y is about 2 inches, but look, it's actually not quite 2 inches. So I'm going to come down here to the other side. And it's sure enough, it's right here on the hole next to the 2 1/16. So it's like 1 11/16 inches. So I'm going to put another point in space. And I'm going to put my compass on that point. And I'm going to go back to that same place I just left. And I'm going to make an arc. And so at this point, I have a point and an arc in space. I'm going to use my straight edge to connect that point to that arc. And so now I have another line, and I'm going to call this AB. And I can say that XY is congruent to AB because I use the arc on Y to create the arc on B, so that the distance between X and Y is congruent to the distance between A and B. What I want you to do now is go ahead and make another line segment, CD, and show it to me, and I'll know that you're ready to move on. Example 2, we've already drawn XY, so we want to construct RS so that RS is equal to 2XY. So essentially what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put a point. And since I know that this was my point for XY, I'm going to go ahead and make an arc. I'm going to connect. And so now I've recreated XY. But it says I want to have it be double XY. So I'm going to go to this point, and I'm going to do it all over again. So that I have 2 arcs in space. and I can connect. And so now I have RS that's equal to 2xy. When you have this with the two arc marks, raise your hand and show it to me, and then I'll go ahead and check you off and you can go to the next thing. Alright, our next construction is constructing congruent angles. This has a few more steps, and we're going to write them down over here. The first step is you want to draw a ray. So I'm going to use my compass, and I'm going to draw a ray. So you can see that my original angle has a vertex and my copied angle has a vertex and a ray. The second thing that you want to do is arc both rays. And in order to do that, so this was the first thing that we did. We drew a ray. The second thing that we're going to do is we're going to arc both rays. So I'm going to pick a pretty safe one. I'm going to go 1.5. And I'm going to draw an arc on the original. And I'm going to come over here to this vertex. And I'm going to draw an arc on this one. So this is the second thing that we did. And I'll go ahead and put a 2 here as well. That way we know that that's the second thing that we did. The third thing is the most complicated. We're going to arc the arc. So if I have my compass here and my compass here, I want to measure the space between these 2 points, because this is going to tell me how big my angle is supposed to be. So when I put my compass here, I want to find the crossover, and I found it right there. It's the point right after the 1 inch. So I'm going to come over here and do the same thing. And so this is the third thing that we did. We arc the arc. And then lastly, we just create the other ray. Create other ray. And we do that using our straight edge. We connect the 2 dots. And so this is the fourth thing that we did. And so now this angle is congruent to that angle. Alright. Go ahead and rewind this. Make sure you understand the 4 steps. If you want me to come check this, just raise your hand. I'll come check this one. But after you've done that, I want you to try to do the same thing, except for do it with the obtuse angle. You're going to create a similar obtuse angle, and so you're going to need yourself a ray right here. That's step 1. Okay? Once you've created the obtuse angle, raise your hand, have me come check it, or have a classmate check it and let me know, and we'll go from there. But yeah, so, and then if you still need help, we can do one on the back of the paper. Alright, example 4. Create angle F so that it's 2 times the measure of angle A. This is just like what we did with the line segment, except for now we're doing it with an angle. I'm going to create my ray. Make sure I have my vertex. Arc my angle. I'm going to arc my angle really big here because we're doing double. Measure across the arc. I don't like when they get in close like this. I'm actually going to need the white, I think. Yep, I'm going to need the white. So I'm using the last space on the white. And then come back and do the last space on the white again. So you notice not only have I marked it once, but I've marked it twice. And then finally I connect. And now angle F is 2 times the measure of angle A. All right. Go ahead and show me that one once you've got it, and we'll move on. Perpendicular lines. So you guys probably know what they are. They're 2 lines that intersect that form right angles. And the symbol for perpendicular lines is the upside down T. A perpendicular bisector is a ray that is perpendicular to the segment at its midpoint. So we're going to learn how to bisect a line. The thing you need to be able to bisect the line is you need to have 2 points. Why? Because we're going to do what I like to call fishtailing. You're going to have to pick a spot on your compass that's at least halfway past, but it's over past halfway of A and B. So I'm going to pick 1.5 inches. And I create this little half circle thing from A. Then I flip my compass over, and this is important. When I put it on B, I need to pick the exact same point, but now it's going to be on the bottom. So see, like, it's still 1.5 inches, but it's on the bottom, and I create this fishtail. So the first thing I did, so I'm going to put number 1 here, is I fishtailed from A, and I picked the 1.5 inch slot on my compass from A. The second thing I did was I fishtailed from B, and again I picked the 1.5 inch slot on my compass from B. And then the last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to connect these 2 intersections. And once I do that, I can put a right angle here, and if I name this C, AC is congruent to CB. And this was the third thing I did, was I put this line here. So the first step, you construct a half a circle from A, you construct the same half circle from B, you connect the 2 things together, and then you have the perpendicular bisector. Go ahead and do the perpendicular bisector of CD. Once you're done with that, raise your hand and check it off with me, and then we'll be good to go. All right, the last construction is to construct an angle bisector. Again, to construct a bisector, how many points did we need? We needed 2, but we only have 1 right now. So let's make 2. I'm going to arc this circle, and that's the first step I did, is I created this arc. So I'm going to put a number 1 right here. But by putting this arc there, now I have 2 points. So if I put my compass on the first point, and I go, again, I'm just going to go 1.5 inches because it's pretty simple and it's a small amount. So let's name this letter B. And this is the second line I did, and I went 1.5 inches from B. And then if I do the same thing, I thought it was going to happen. And so this is the third line I did, and I went 1.5 inches from C. Where they cross is the middle of angle A. So if I connect angle A to that middle, and this is the fourth thing I did, that is the angle bisector of BAC. So the last thing I want you to do today is to create another angle down here, angle ABC, and it can be whatever you want. I'm going to do mine like this. Make it a little bit bigger. And I want you to bisect that angle and then show it to me. and we'll talk about if you do it wrong, we'll talk about it, because there's a couple things that you can do wrong based on my picture. And so I want to talk about that with you. So when you're done with that, I'll give you your classwork instruction. Of course, you see it. It's in the workbook. It's listed on the unit plan. There's a couple more ways to practice this. But that's basically constructions and how you use them to do the things that we've been talking about in class so far.